Hey guys, it's James here. I thought I would do a longer form off the cuff video today. And I'd like to talk about one of the nights I had recently actually, which was a surprise party for my partner and I. We just got married and met a bunch of new people there as well. It was really nice. One of the people I met was a fund manager for a family office. And I asked him a question of, would you be looking at adding Bitcoin to your fund? Sort of jokingly, but not really. And his response was, absolutely not. There's no value in Bitcoin, no intrinsic value in Bitcoin. And that you only focused on investing in things that produce products and services and what he called intrinsic value. I think this is something that continually comes up with a lot of people that haven't yet invested in Bitcoin or still don't understand or see the value in it from their side. And that's totally fine. Some people may not see the value in Bitcoin. They may not use Bitcoin and they haven't invested in it before. But I did have a good 30 to 40 minute chat with him. And I hope he has come away with having learned something at least. So I thought it would be interesting just to use this time to run through how that conversation went. So after he said he wouldn't consider investing in it, I basically said, first of all, we have to understand value is very subjective. So I might not buy trading cards or Pokemon cards, but another person might be willing to pay lots of money for it. So value is inherently subjective, number one. Number two, just taking a step back, is do we agree that there's a problem that needs solving in the world today? And the problem that Bitcoin sets out to solve is the problem of broken money. So it is relatively well known amongst people that invest in Bitcoin, but I'd probably say for the general population that don't invest in Bitcoin, that there isn't as much awareness that the current financial system rewards people that have the most assets already, and it does so through inflation of the currency supply. And most people who don't have assets or aren't financially educated tend to suffer. So especially if you're already on a low income or low wage, it's very hard to save up. It's very hard to take out debt to go and buy assets. And so there's a problem of money is working for the richest people, making them richer. But at the same time, inflation is impacting the poorest people, making them poorer. And that's just a fundamental problem that I think needs to be addressed. It's just one of the frustrating things I find is that is sort of taken as oh yeah, that's just the way things are. Like, that's how money works. It doesn't have to be how money works at all. You have now got an option to store value in a perfectly scarce digital asset that can be sent anywhere in the world. Yes, Bitcoin isn't an ideal medium of exchange at the minute because a lot of merchants don't yet accept Bitcoin. It's also expensive to use the main chain of Bitcoin, the base layer of Bitcoin, to do transactions. Too expensive. I'll be putting out another video shortly on Lightning Network and how faster payments have now been realized by David Marcus and his team at Lightspark, where you can settle between currencies in less than a second using the Bitcoin Lightning Network. It's a super fascinating breakthrough, actually. But coming back to the point of money is broken, it's inflationary, and we've now got a money that is perfectly scarce, digital, divisible, transportable, has all of the key properties that you'd want in a money. So that is quite valuable. And so saying it has no value is to just say, well, you discard all of those factors. I think the other point we touched on was around, let's say that you're a refugee or middle class or even a wealthy person, but you're trying to flee a tyrannical regime. Let's say you're in an extremely communist country that is implementing capital controls or wants to seize your wealth, or even whatever little wealth you might have if you're a refugee. You can't take gold bars or your property or your land with you and cross the border. It will just get taken away from you. Bitcoin gives you a means of holding your wealth, and literally with no more than 12 to 24 words, you can memorize a sequence of letters in your head or write it down, but in your head if you want to be super safe when crossing a border. And you can take your wealth with you and just access that once you're in a safe place. That's pretty valuable. Again, that's not worthless, right? And so it's not about you can't eat a Bitcoin or you can't drive a Bitcoin or you can't live in a Bitcoin. Of course you can't. But as a money itself, we don't use cows for money anymore because they're not a great money, because you can't divide a cow into like a million pieces easily. Not everybody in the world consumes beef, right? Money doesn't need to be intrinsically valuable. Money needs to be a useful, divisible, and ideally decentralized, by which I mean neutral, store of value for the world, a unit of account for the world. Bitcoin is the first time that we have that. So anyway, the conversation was really interesting. I think he started to come around to the idea of Bitcoin, saw it in a different light, maybe than he had done or spoken to other people. You know, Bitcoin is what, just over 64,000 US dollars at the minute. That's the price. What can you do? You can't say it's worthless because it's over $1 trillion in market cap and it's $64,000 a coin. I think what we're going to see over the next decade is we're going to go past 100,000 probably in the next 1 or 2 years, maybe less, and then 150s, 200,000. It's going to keep going up because more money will get created. And so long as more people believe in the narrative of Bitcoin, and they believe in the narrative because they understand its properties of scarcity as a neutral money for the world, it's going to gain more value because it is incredibly valuable. And it's just a case of learning more and more about it and understanding the problem that it solves.